What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is the LR Pod Live. We are here in full effect, about to get wrecked. But anyway, how was everybody doing? Let's see here. It's a beautiful day. Has some storms over here. I thought it was a tornado coming, and I'm gonna tell y'all right now. I think I died in a tornado in my dream, but it's all good. Today we are talking about when shit hit the fan. Are you prepared? Everybody swear they prepared. I got a guest coming up. All right. Everybody swear they prepared until the lights go off, right? The lights go off what? Overnight, everybody bugging. Keep the refrigerator closed. Keep the freezer closed. All right, now imagine the lights are out a month. Imagine the lights are out a year. What would happen at that point? It gotta be scary. So I wanted to do a show about this, and I got the right person to talk about it. But before I do that, I want to give a shout out to all the podcast listeners. They've been down with me from the beginning. And I fuse the podcast with YouTube. So I want to give a shout out to all of them. Thanks to all my podcasters that have been listening. Listeners that have been listening to me for almost 4 years. That anniversary is coming up soon. And this new venture, YouTube Live, it's cool. It's dope. Like I said, it's tough. It's rough, and I like it. But all right, let's get right to it, man. Let's get right to it. I like to introduce my guest. You know what? And I know this guy very well. And before I was even on this mindset of just preparing myself and the type of guns and ammo you need, right? He was always there talking about that stuff. And I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes it went right in one ear and out the other. I swear to God, I ain't gonna lie to you. But when you see news and you see everything that's going on, it's like, oh man, it's right there. So, all right. I'd like to welcome. What's up, man? What's going
up,
on with
brother?
you?
What's up, my brother?
Man.
How you doing?
I'm good. Life is good. Cannot complain. Thank you, Orlando, for coming up here, man. And I think, my main thing with this show is like the rebroadcast. I'm just starting off, and I know the viewers ain't there, but I got thousands upon thousands of people all over the world on my podcast. So it's good to feed them because they need to know this. I don't care if you're in Russia, if you're in China, if you anywhere around the world, you still need to be prepared, right? So, you know me personally, I might say some crazy stuff, go to the left, go to the right, but that's what it is. And I think that's what people, somewhat listen for. So, let me see what I was going to get into. Okay, now this was the first thing. When it comes to different situations, right? Like you got some that's probably can happen more than other situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just say World War II, World War III, right?
Right.
I'm guessing that's very possible now with the situation going on. And number two, a civil war. A lot of people say that can't happen because a lot of families are sort of like intermingled now, but I still think it can happen in pockets. And the news can probably, you seen the thing with the riverboat, like everything can really be, sort of like the puppet master. So what do you think about? And I'll get to the other two crazier ones after that, but that's the two main ones that we can stay on the same level with. So what do you think will be something that we really need to look forward to, but not look forward to, but so be prepared for?
It's a lot that I think we need to be prepared for because it's happening on so many dynamics or areas, not just here in America, but all over the globe. One thing I think we specifically need to pay attention to, because what would actually push us into a civil war is the de-dollarization or the finance collapsing. And when everyone would start to try to take their money out the bank when BRICS start to change their currency over. And I don't think people really understand that 40% of the globe, or the population of the globe, is part of BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. That is 40% of the population. And I don't think that citizens really understand that when Saudi Arabia has removed themselves from the dollar bill, which basically that's how the United States back their currency, or used to back their currency. It's going to really affect the U.S. in so many dynamics, because as they speak right now, they saying that the BRICS value of their $1, just say hypothetically, their $1 is equal to $55 US dollars. So,
seriously? They're $1?
Absolutely. Because the US dollar is not backed by anything. It don't have any value. It's basically worthless. It's a promissory note. So when the de-dollarization happens and everybody try to rush and go to the bank to try to get their money, the banks are going to close. And nobody's going to be allowed to get their money out the bank. Because being honest with you, the banks only holds like less than 3. I'm not correct on the percentage, but I'm gonna give you I'm gonna throw out a percentage of 3%. 3% of the monies that is in the bank, that's how much the banks hold. They don't hold, everybody can't go to the banks at the same time and withdraw their money.
Yeah.
So they only have like 3% or less than 1% of people's money in the bank. So when the de-dollarization happens, everyone gonna try to go get their money. They're not going to be able to get it. It's gonna cause chaos. In a sense,
$50 to one, boy. That's
actually $55.
$55 to one.
Yes.
Yeah.
55. So it's gonna be a major issue. And then that it's gonna be like when Germany went to war with when the US went to war with the Nazis, and when they was taking a wheelbarrow full of their money to go buy one loaf of bread.
I got you.
Right. And we also got to understand that United States import 80% and only export 20%. That means that we don't have any production. That means that when Bill Clinton came into office and he signed that NAFTA agreement, he started to ship jobs overseas. That means that the United States only became a service country. We only service. We're not an industry country no more. We don't produce anything.
Yeah. Do you think it'd get to a point that, all right, let me ask you this first. Do you think United States is number one in the world?
When it comes down to
when it comes to military power?
Well, I don't think they do, because I think a lot of them they haven't updated their systems when it comes down to ballistic weapons. I think that Russia has more ballistic weapons than we do. I think that their missile industry is much better. As of now, they saying because we have shipped so many weapons over to Ukraine to help support Ukraine, it would take us close to 10 years to replenish all the weapons that we lost or that we gave away to Ukraine. They can have another mechanism of weapon warfare, but at this point, a lot of commentators are not talking about that. But as for now, all the weapons that the United States have given away, it'll take us about 10 years to recover. And be able to stockpile back.
Okay. All right, so let's get into this thing keep falling. something more like nature kind of thing. Like, you familiar with like solar flares and storms and stuff like that that can knock out the grid.
Right.
And I was talking about this before you came on. Do you think how long you think people right now, the average person, is prepared to be without power?
I would say the average person maybe a month at the most. And that's pushing it for some people, because we have to understand that everybody's not on that same economic level. Look at low income communities.
Yeah.
Like in Kentucky, just all over low income areas, they don't have food stored away for months and months. So it would be very difficult for them to survive. The average person may have the person who's into the know, they may have 3 months.
3 months.
It's a different category now, because everybody's not on the same level financially.
Yeah.
And because I asked some coworkers, sometimes I ask coworkers at work, how much food you got if you have to store it up? She said, they'll be proudly to say, I have a month. That's just the average person just walking around every day, just listening to the news.
Yeah.
But the people like you and I, some may have 3 months. But that's
I don't got 3 months. I'll tell you that right. I ain't gonna lie to you. But after this show, I will. After this show. Now, I see a lot of commercials about that freeze dry kind of food that you probably put water in and stir it, and it's good for 25 years.
Right.
And I know it's people that probably have food like that probably for 24 years and 6 months, and they about to throw all that away. I mean, is it worth buying that? Because some people actually think that nothing going to happen, man. It's all hype. We've been through this before. Nothing really is going to happen, so we can just wait it out. And if something do happen, we just rush to the supermarket. And you remember how COVID was. You couldn't find bread. You couldn't find a lot of stuff when COVID, came through. So I just think people, they don't care about that because, bills is probably backed up or coming up, or they trying to buy a house, or their car broke down, or something like that. A lot of people don't care about looking towards the future like somebody like yourself, because I'm not going to lie. I mean, I wasn't on that kind of time until I moved down here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like before I moved down here, probably when I was young, we had like the deep freezer. But when I got older, I didn't care about no deep freezer, So I don't know. All right. So solar storms and stuff. And another thing, I did a show about, and I don't know if this your lane or not, but the UFO stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was something that was going on back in the day called Project Blue Beam.
Right.
And that was like a way to sort of scare people with UFOs. It was a way to control the masses. I mean, regular propaganda can probably take over a community, or how they used to drop leaflets down, right?
Right.
But when you have something that's real big like this, and they using all these kind of, things that they got that we don't know about, technology and stuff like that, they able to control. That's what it seemed like they setting it up to control the whole masses with a fake alien invasion. Now, I don't know if you're a religious person or not, but I think when they do that, that would probably affect people's religion belief, religion belief. So what you think about controlling the masses, the government or whatever establishment that's controlling the masses? Do you think the people really care about that? And can you help people? Because I know, listen, I know you've been trying to help people. I swear it's like whoop whoop, we coming right out. I feel you. Give you a dap, like, I'm gonna take care of that. I'm gonna take it. Then when you walk off, you're thinking about something else, man. Dude, people don't care until it's time,
Right.
And hopefully some people can see this. And I want to just say, all right, let's get the weapons real quick. I know a few people that don't have one gun in their house.
Mm.
Is there a way to live without having a gun in your house? Is it a way to protect yourself if you don't believe in carrying guns?
Just depend on the scenario. Just depend on the scenario and what the situation is. If a woman don't believe in carrying a gun, they can also go get personal training like boxing classes, martial art classes. They can go out and go get some kickbox classes, something to that nature. They can go get a knife or pepper spray or bear spray, things of that nature there to be able to, or a bat or something like that to be able to protect themselves. I just recently bought some bear spray for my my daughter. Even though all my kids they shoot and they're training on weapons, I also bought some bear spray because bear spray, it can shoot out about 5 feet. So a person don't have time. They won't be able to. If you use that bear spray to spray a person, it can prevent them from coming within 5 feet upon you. So you can live without weapons, but I heard a guy say one day, he said, a slave is without a gun, a free man is with a weapon. You know, and that's what we have to what we have to understand is that Christopher Columbus, when he came over here to the Americas, he conquered this land with weapons and animals and things of that nature. He was able to overpower the native people
that have bow and arrows and spears and stuff like that. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all right. So, you know, I'm a gun person. You already know that.
Yes.
I at least wanted to have, and prior to moving down here, I didn't have a gun because I was coming from New Jersey. Well, let me backtrack. It wasn't legal, but coming down here and it's like, bam, you can get your gun license along with switching over your license. And I was just like, man, I think as soon as I got my license, I got my gun license. So now carrying, which I do, I noticed that it's a little bit more respect between people that's carrying. It's like, you know, your boundaries before, like just say somewhere up north where people walk up to you, walk in your face, start stuff, you know, come in your zone. You can't really do that when the majority of the people is carrying, you know what I'm saying? You can't play those games, definitely when they got the stand your ground law. So what, and I think I heard you say this before, but I'll let you repeat it. What is the best round far as caliber to get if you just a regular girl or a regular guy that's just not like an avid shooter, but just something to protect their self, their home, or, you know, if anything, if shit hit the fan, you know?
Well, I would suggest a 9mm would be the perfect round of caliber that a person can have, because it's very reasonable in prices. You can go buy, in my area that I live in, you can go buy a 50-round box of 9mm for $14. So a 9mm is a very, I think it's a very good caliber for the average shooter. And just like, because we're doing the show on SHTF, I think that the common house that has ammo or weapons do have a 9mm caliber. So in case you come into a house that's vacant or that has been taken, whatever happens to that home, the highly likelihood of you finding a 9mm caliber in that home is very high, because that's what people prefer to shoot.
Okay. Opposed to 357 or something like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think everyone buys a gun for different purposes. And when I go to training, the first thing my instructor say is, why you want to buy the weapon that you buy? What is it for? Why are you going to use it?
Mm-hmm.
And when I give him the explanation, he can be able to say, okay, that is a good reason why you want to buy it. But I just don't go buy weapons. I used to, it was a learning curve for me because I have had plenty of weapons, and then I sold plenty of weapons,
Mm-hmm.
but I had to learn to bring it down. I had to downsize my weapons because I can't shoot all of them at the same time, and I can't get much practice. If I got a 380, a 9mm, a 45, a 40, a 357, a 5.7, and I don't have enough money to shoot all those guns monthly and get proper training with them, and then expect to be successful with them. You get what I'm saying?
They basically sit in the closet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Except the one that you are carrying.
Right.
Right. And that would be a 9mm.
Yes, I carry a Glock 19, and that's my everyday carry because a Glock 19 have a cartridge of 15 to 17 rounds, and I have an extra magazine. And they say the normal gunfight normally average around 9 to 10 rounds. You don't even lose out on, you don't use your whole magazine. Wow. So, it just basically, you got to be wise in the decisions you make when you're purchasing weapons. Mm-hmm. And, you got to understand why you're purchasing it, because sometimes I bought a gun, I bought a 5.7, and I bought it because of my testosterone. I wanted to go around and brag about what I did, but the 50 round box cost me $43.
Yeah.
So
it's basically useless, right? It's like I don't know, like a prop gun or something to show off.
Absolutely.
So you got rid of it, or you still got it?
No, I got rid of it. Because because I'm not buying weapons to show off. I'm buying weapons to protect my home. Mm. I'm not buying weapons to brag about what I have. I'm using them for self-defense purposes. And I want whatever weapons I have, I want to make sure that I can afford the ammo, I can afford the maintenance, I can be able to train with it as much as I can without any problem. So I'm trying to be wise on what I purchase in the future.
Okay. Yeah, I got a 357. What is it? A Glock, and I was told not to buy it, but you know what I mean? I still brought it. I still got it, but you know what's funny? I haven't shot it yet, but it's all good. I get to it one day. But I was noticing something that freaked me out before. I was in Nashville, probably like 30 minutes above Nashville. And I was just talking to a couple people on the phone, right? And I just did a calculation I went to my phone and I went up to the maps and I seen how long would it take for me to get back to the Atlanta area? Just say if, EMP went off or something like that and all the cars are rendered useless, electric out, whatever. And the phone told me it would take 4 to 5 days to get back to Atlanta. And you talk about the craziness you got to walk through. You probably won't make it back. Because you talk about nights, overnight, like 4 or 5 nights that you got to survive. You got to get something to eat. It's going to be people out there on a different tone than you. They bout it. You know what I'm saying? And they going to have, and if you working or something, you ain't going to have the artillery like you said. You probably have some keys from your vehicle that you was driving in a book bag. So it's the little stuff like that people don't understand. Like a 5-day walk, a lot of people would not be able to make that back home.
Well, I'm gonna say this on that. You can make it if you put your mind to it, but you also have to also have something with you to sustain you through the process.
Yeah.
What I carry every day when I come to go to work, I have a wet weather gear, I have one MRE, I have a book, I have a first aid kit in my bag every day. And what else I have? I have like a little MacGyver kit. I have matches, all of that in my bag when I go to work every day, because I'm expecting that.
Yeah.
So only thing that we would need within that 3 to 5 days that is mandatory is water.
Water.
Because your body can go 40 days or 35 days without food. But your body can only go 3 days without water.
Without water. Oh, just 3 days.
So if you can make it, you can make it by just having a match in a tin cup in your truck, because you can just use your lighter to light some woods or some leaves or something to create a fire, so that you can sterilize the water, purify the water, so that you can drink it. So you can make it, but you have to be prepared for this, just mentally as well as physically. So,
and that's the thing. Excuse me. That's sorry for cutting you. That's the thing, because I would definitely forget this. A lot of people is not mentally prepared, and that's where the crazy and the people acting up come from. Taking your stuff. Now, somebody might have a gun and you don't have a gun. You fooled at that point, right? So you have a lot of people freaking out, and people like yourself. I mean, they probably just calm and collective the whole time. Hard people just running into each other, fighting each other, taking stuff. Yeah. It probably won't go down like that. And you know what? We probably won't see it in our lifetime, but if we do, it'll be real crazy. And there's one more thing that I wanted to say on that note is, do people need to have sort of like a meetup point? I know you got all of this. I know you got everything to the T.
Absolutely. Yes. Everyone needs a plan. Everyone needs a plan on what they will and won't do, where they supposed to go, how many days this should take. Say hypothetically, I live in Fairburn, and okay, the power goes out. My wife and I, we can stay in our home a good little while, but just say hypothetically, if my wife is in one location, I'm in another, we have radios that we can communicate with, where we can, if the cell system the cell towers go down, we can communicate, and then at some point we will be able to know our destinations and where we meet up at. Our bags are already packed, ready to go. Everything is ready to go. Only thing it would do is just take us about 30 minutes to get up out of here. So you should have a meetup plan. And when my wife was working, I told her we will meet at my job. If anything went down and where she was working, she would come to my job. We'll meet there and we'll go where we need to go from that point. The only thing I'm gonna say to this is that we can't have the mindset that it won't happen in our lifetime. It won't happen.
Yeah.
We can't say that it won't happen even in our lifetime, because a lot of people are having difficulties right now just believing that the microchip is out, and it may go into effect at the beginning of next year. So we can't have the ideas of thinking that it's not going to happen, because what that does is it prolongs the preparation. So it makes us lax, makes us not aware. It makes us unconscious and not be conscious about the conditions that's going on in society.
Yes.
If you fail to plan, expect to fail.
You said microchip. We remember that.
Huh?
You said the microchip didn't come out yet or something?
It's the microchip that you can wave your hand over
Oh,
the scan.
yeah. You don't want that?
Hey, man. You know, I've been doing a lot of research in that, and you got to be prepared for that.
You don't see convenience in that. Just you go into the store and you like, damn, one more wallet. All right, I don't got it.
Well, I'm gonna say this on that. The reason why we're in the conditions today is because of convenience. And
yes, you got a point there.
We got to realize this. You can go to the convenience store, but you're gonna pay an extra price than going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
The convenience store is going to charge you a little bit more than the regular grocery store would. So convenience costs you something.
Yeah. So, all right, so we on that note. Because I know you go deeper than I know you can get deeper than the scan thing. So what other conspiracy like things that's top on your list that you think is real? I know you got a few. The craziest.
The Agenda 2030, I think, is real. I think Project Bluebeam is real. I think the flat earth theory is real. It's so many others out there. You name them, because most what they call conspiracy theories have been proven to be correct.
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah.
Right. So we have to realize that a lot of things that we've been told hasn't been correct. It's like somebody throwing you off the trail with another scent. Like when a dog is chasing a runaway.
Yeah.
And then the runaway throws something on the ground to have the dog to go the other way.
Yeah.
Instead of continue to follow the trail. I think that's what that's what's going on now. They're trying to throw us off the trail. They're trying to stop us from continuing to go down that path and follow this person. They want us to go in a totally different direction.
So a lot of stuff would be, they will call it something that's probably real. They would just call it a conspiracy theory, sort of like to dampen it up or to kooky it out, make it just seem like, they just talking that again. This is a conspiracy theory.
Right.
Because they did that to a few things coming up. So my thing is, even though I don't think, I'm going there with this, but zombies and all of that stuff is real. But what always get me when I watch a zombie movie is the beginning, how it all started, how the outbreak happened, how everybody cool, and then shit just hit the fan, and then neighbors, like I always said, I give yourself probably like 2 months, probably a month before, your neighbor, y'all checking on each other to the point now y'all trying to possibly kill each other for the resources. And I get that about a good month. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't understand that. When it gets to the zombie part, yeah, okay, that's a whole nother level. But I think that whole thing, when society breaks down, even the family breaks down, the neighborhood breaks down, and you just sitting there with a gun, any noise you hear, you shooting at the door. I think that can really happen, but not to zombies to that effect, but just to other stuff. You know, lights. If Russia was to go wild, Russia could actually. Damn, what's that called? It's not a regular nuke. I think it's called the other kind of nuke. What they call it?
It's an EMP where you can shoot it up in the skies and black out everything. That's one of the nukes that they can use. Or you talking about the big nuke that could wipe out Texas?
Yeah, the EMP thing. I know China. Everybody got that because it's basically any kind of nuclear device that you can, detonate at a certain altitude, right?
Correct.
And it just, anything that got an electrical circuit board in it is a wrap.
Right.
And when I talk to people about that, they don't even know what the hell that means. You ever thought of setting up some kind of a course or anything to help people?
Well, actually, what I used to do before COVID, actually way before COVID. First, let me tell you my background. I'm prior service.
Okay.
I'm prior service. I'm U.S. Army, and I was in there for 8 years. I was deployed to Somalia for 6 months, and I have a lot of training when it comes down to survival. And my civilian training started probably in 2018 when I started doing other training outside of the military.
Yeah.
And I continue to brush up on my training. And what I did prior to the pandemic, my family and I, we would come to my home once a month or twice a month. We would set up tents in my backyard, and we would go through first aid. We would go through purifying water.
Wow.
We would go through cooking. We would do that Friday night, Saturday morning, all day Saturday. And then Sunday morning, we'll get up and go to the gun range. And we did like a 3 day, 2 nights training scenario for like 3 months. And it was basically learning the small components of trying to survive in the wilderness. And just trying to get us to condition just to stay outside in the backyard, because the average human don't even camp out in the backyard or on the porch.
Yeah.
So in case we have a real scenario or a real breakdown of society, it would be very difficult for people to even just sleep in the backwoods and sleep in the woods because they wouldn't be prepared for it. But we've been training like that I off and on take guys out, and we train learning just how to start a fire. That's very important because it keeps you warm, it purifies your water, it can sterilize anything, it can keep you clean. And I don't think the average person know how to start a fire without matches or a cigarette lighter. And we need to and that's what we did as a family. We learned those things. And when you have 5 people sitting around you watching you try to start a fire, the pressure is on, because they are expecting for you to start the fire, and they're watching you. And if you haven't been prepared for that and you haven't been practicing for that, it can stress you out. Just being able to learn how to start a fire. And my family and I, we did that for the whole summer, And then I have taken a couple of guys out to the woods, and we learn how to start a fire, and we go to the gun range, and we do a lot of numerous things. And one time I tried to get a group of guys to go so that we can learn how to cut up a fish. If you go fishing and you catch a fish, will you be able to clean it and cut it up and gut it out so that you can be able to eat it and not tear it up?
Yeah, we used to fish sticks, man.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's dope. So y'all went, how long did y'all go for? You say y'all went for a month like that? Couple months?
No, we didn't stay. It wasn't a continuous basis,
No, I'm
but
just saying like y'all did it
the whole
for
summer. We
that's
did the whole summer.
giving me an idea now. You're giving me an idea.
So what we would do, we would come in, say Saturday. Everybody get off work Friday. They'll say they come in, they'll get settled down, get the camp, the area set up. We wouldn't eat regular food. We'll have to cook our own food off the grill or however we bring it.
Yeah.
Then that Saturday morning, we would go through classes, like first aid class. How would you pick somebody up on the ground? If they was laying on the ground and they broke their ankle, how would you split that? How would you protect their ankles? How would you pick them off the ground? If they had got it,
I said no clue. You can continue.
You see what I'm saying? If a person cut their arms, do you have the first aid to be able to bandage their arm up? Things of that nature. And then we also did it about security, making sure that you can secure your home or secure the perimeter that you're at. Okay, you don't necessarily have to have some major. You can just have some strings with some little cans on it, and somebody can hit the cans and it can make a little noise. It'll startle you. So it's numerous of things that we practice on, and we did it on a repetitious basis so that it can be embedded in our mind. And we was doing it for a while, and then the pandemic came and it stopped. But I continually do it.
To this day,
I still do it.
Yeah, that's something, because I actually wanted to go to the firehouse and get the CPR because I don't know that either, and I think people should at least know that, or somebody choking, the Heimlich maneuver or something, man.
Yeah.
And
right.
it's crazy and it's thundering. Whoa, that sounds like a tree fell or something. But it's crazy that people don't know this. All right, so what's let me go through this. What is the basics if somebody listening on a podcast or rebroadcast, right? What is the basics that everybody must have?
To me, you need to have 5 categories, 5 things.
Okay.
You need to have fire. Either if it's a match, lighter, a fire starter, you need to have something that be able to help you to be able to start a fire.
Oh, let me go ahead. I'm gonna write this down as you go. Okay.
Yeah, you need to have anything. I would even also suggest road flares. You ever seen the police officer when there was an accident at night?
Yeah.
And they throw the red road flares out, and it's I even suggest some of those. And the reason why I suggest them, because when I took one guy out to the woods and we was practicing on how to start a fire, the woods was wet. It was bad. It had been raining. So what I did was I put my road flare in the fire pit. And the road flare burns for at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So at a high temperature. So what that road flare did, it dried up the wood enough so that I can continue to have wood burning in the pit.
That's smart. Yeah, that's dope.
So, I use those, and you can use those road flare for numerous of things, but you got to have something to be able to start a fire. And whatever you use, make it comfortable and affordable to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have shelter. You can get a tent or a tarp. You don't necessarily need a tent to be able to protect yourself in the element. You can have a nice size tarp that you can use, but you got to make sure that you got to realize that you got to have some tent pegs with it or some rope to be able to help you tie the tarp down in certain areas so that you can cover yourself from if it's raining or anything like that. You got to have food. You got to have food. Some people suggest canned goods, which I think is good. Beans and rice, I think is good. Also, I have MREs, military rations. I have some of those, as well as little packages of tuna and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can be those small packages of tuna, you can put about 25 or 30 of those in a bag, and it won't be that heavy. You know, when you're talking about a to-go bag, but when you're at home, you can have that too as well. But if you're going to have canned goods, you got to make sure you have enough can openers in case one breaks. You got to at least have two.
More than one.
Absolutely. At least 3. You got to have at least 3. You got to have your security. Just say if you're in a home and you got a 3-bedroom house, mm-hmm. and say hypothetically the power is out. You got to figure out what's going to be your designated area that you're going to stay in while the power is out. And you have to secure your home in the other 2 areas so that you can direct your enemies to a specific area so that you can be able to defend yourself from them. Say hypothetically, if you got a 3-story home, you know that the enemy's not going to come from the 3rd level, but they can come to your house through the 1st level.
And then come up. Yeah.
Yeah, so what you have to do is, what I have given advice to people is go buy cardboard, plywood to be able to put in the windows of your home so that the enemy cannot just kick your window in and come through. They got to come through the cardboard, the plywood. Okay. And by you hearing the enemy come through that plywood, it will give you enough time to respond to those enemies. And then you can go get you some 2x4s to board up your door so that they can't easily kick in your door. Right. And then you just live on the lower level of your home.
Oh, so you don't go up to the top?
No, you don't go up to the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd level. You stay at the lower level of your home.
Okay.
I would not, because that's my plans for my wife and I. We're not going to, even though I hope I'm just going to say this. Mm-hmm. We're not going to stay on the 2nd or 3rd level. We're going to stay on the lower level of our home. And
pick because them off one by one. Huh?
Absolutely, because also we are protected on the 3 sides by concrete in the basement. And then we have a fenced-in backyard.
Okay.
So by you coming into my home, you're going to have to come through the back door, come from the lower level. And that's why I'm able to be able to protect myself if someone enter my backyard. Okay. It's going to be very difficult for somebody to come to my 2nd or 3rd level.
Yeah.
And then also you need first aid. You need first aid because in case somebody gets stabbed, cut, shot, you also need medications that somebody may be on. You're going to need that. But also I would suggest that if you have high blood pressure and you're looking to have, and you know you're on high blood pressure medicine, mm-hmm. I would not just get medication from the doctor. I would go to a herbal shop and get medication that help with high blood pressure. So because your doctor may say, well, I'm only going to give you 2 months. But you can go to the herbal store and get as much as you need without any prescriptions. So that what I suggest, if people are they have other health issues, and they can go to the herbal store and purchase that product, I would suggest that they do it so that they wouldn't necessarily have to go through the doctor.
Yeah. And they basically won't run out, because if you run out of that, you know, that's a ticking time bomb right there, you know?
Absolutely. But you're not limited to the doctors at that point, mm-hmm. because the doctor said, I'm only going to give you two months worth. You say, okay, cool. Then you can go to the herbal store and go buy a whole year worth.
Yeah.
without having to worry about the doctor even knowing what you have. And it'll somewhat kind of help you get through the process.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Write that down. Making my list over here. What
Yeah.
about water?
Water is one of the main things you need to have, but fire and water goes together. If you don't have fire, you're gonna be cold. If you don't have fire, you can't purify your water.
Oh, as far as boiling it.
Right, you got to be able to boil your water. I would just suggest some water filters. You can go get a Sawyer water filter, which is suggested that they can purify over 100,000 gallons of water. But also you can go buy some Berkey water filters, which will last 2 to 3 years. For your home, you can buy them in different sizes, 2 or 3 gallons, and you can go buy a Berkey water filter, which is good. But Sawyer water filters are good if you're going to use them to on the go. Okay. But when you're purchasing water, you have to calculate if you have, say, 5 people in your home, and just say each person gonna use a half a gallon of water a day. You have to calculate that by each person by the month and try to go get that amount. But because you got to realize that you got to have water for drinking, you got to have water for bathing, you got to have water for cooking. You got to have a lot of water, and that water's got to be used for different purposes.
Yeah.
Especially if you do not have a pond or a creek around your home. If you live in a subdivision and you got a swimming pool, you can get together with your subdivision and use the swimming pool water as a source of bathing.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Not drinking, but a source of bathing.
Absolutely. That's a source. And also for cleaning, whatever it is, because it has chlorine in it, and chlorine kills bacteria.
Yeah.
So if you live in a community that has a pool, that's one source of water which you can use for cleaning and bathing. But they also have 55-gallon drums that out there that you can purchase, where it would be able to, you can be able to store. And that's for one person, that's 55 days. That's 2 months. For say for 4 people, 5 people, if you manage it well, it can last you a half a month, but it's going to be on certain things. You know, it's going to be on whether you use it for drinking or whether you use it for bathing, whether you use it for cooking. You got to be able to put all that into categories so that you'll know what water is what it's for. Did that make any sense?
Yes. What about rain catching water?
That is great.
That's illegal, right? In some states.
Well, it just depends. Yeah, it's illegal in some states, but I don't really think that's enforced if you're in a community and you're cool with your neighbors and things of that nature. There's ways to be able to catch rainwater. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't necessarily too much worry about that, but I would if you wanted to focus on catching rainwater, I would definitely do that. But you have to realize how often do it rain. That could be one source.
Fill up, to fill up, you know, a jug. It's a 50-gallon.
Yeah. So how often does it rain to do that? Some days it goes 2 or 3 weeks. Sometimes it goes 2 or 3 weeks without rain.
Yeah. So
I'm not saying that wouldn't be a means of catching rainwater, but I would not just rely on that one source. Yeah.
Let's see. So, okay, we got that. So, all right. So, so I got the list down, and that's perfect. And I think people need to, I don't know, like if they care about it. Like I said, if people care about it, they need to know this.
Right.
But unfortunately, it's not on a lot of people's mind until shit go crazy, you
Right.
know, until all of a sudden the news is flashing and it's going down, right? And
Correct.
now everybody want to go to the store, but guess what? Everybody going to the store at the same time. So that's basically what happened. But
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it was dope to have you on, man, and I learned a lot. I'm a changed person now. I'm about to get about to take
Mm.
this list and get everything. And I think you gave me probably that was a while ago. It was a list. It was a piece of paper, and I think I still got that piece of paper.
Mhm.
It was 100 things.
Right. Right.
Now, if I can find that, I'm gonna somehow post it somewhere,
Mhm.
and that will at least give people a chance to get prepared and at least see what you got on that list. Like, let's just put a check mark on see what you got on that list, and I guarantee you probably only got 5 out of that 100.
Right.
So I want like I talk about UFOs, I talk about relationships, I talk about a lot of crazy stuff, but this one I think people really needed to hear because as we watch news, we see it. We see something brewing. We just don't know what it is. And I would hate to have people just say if social media is still up and people saying I don't have water, well, I don't have food, help me. I think people were saying that. Was they saying that in the pandemic? I think people was on social media saying the stuff they don't have.
Mhm.
Help me. And it ain't gonna be nothing, nothing you can really do about that. You know what
Nope.
I'm saying? So you want to say anything closing to the people that will be listening, that's probably not taking this serious?
I'm gonna say this to you. If you are a religious person, I would suggest that you go to Genesis chapter 15, verses 13 and 14,
Mhm.
which talks about Abraham's seed being in a foreign land for 400 years. And after that 400 years, God would judge the nations. Throughout the Bible, it have always been preppers.
Mhm.
Noah was a
Mm.
prepper. Joseph
Oh
was
yeah,
a prepper
he was the
because,
ultimate.
yeah, so we have to look at those scenarios. Even if you're not a religious person and you want to just go on history, we have to look at it as if every great nation has fallen and another kingdom have come about. So history have shown us that Rome have failed and it was one of the greatest nations on the earth. So now when we're looking at the United States in its position, when we depend on China for 80% of imports, China can just turn us off at the drop of a dime.
Mm.
So we got even if you're going to look at it from a cosmetic viewpoint, from a
Galactic.
galactic viewpoint, the stars are lining up.
Yeah.
Everything is happening in the stars. So when you can look at it from whatever area that you want to look at it from, whatever you believe in,
Mhm.
it is the signs are here that something major is going to happen.
Something is going to happen.
Right. And I remember hearing you say this right before I came on. You brought me on. You said that if the lights goes out for a year, if the light goes out for a year, 80% of the population in America will be dead.
I believe it.
I'm gonna say this: if the lights are out for 1 month, we got to think about the people who are on dialysis, the
Mhm.
people who need medications, the people who are terminally ill in hospitals when hospitals may only have, say, a week of gas for the
Generator.
hospitals. And we can't just say that we got natural gas, but we have to realize that the natural gas is used. Only way we can get natural gas is that we use generators. and the generators are coming out. The generators help produce the natural gas that comes up out of the ground. It goes in through circulation. So if the generators are not able to work to be able to produce and get the natural gas out of the ground, we won't have anything. So imagine how many people would die within that. And also the rape and then the murdering and also the other stuff that comes along with ravaging, because a lot of people don't have a month worth of supplies. And I'm not trying to fear you or scare people, but this is reality. You know, a lot of people don't have all the food and whatever other people may have, and they're going to try to come in and take it. So it's not going to be a pretty sight.
And we have to be prepared.
You got to. I have friends. I talk to a guy every day. I talk to a guy maybe twice a week. And he's 68 years old. He said, Orlando, I think about preparing every day. What I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, the way I'm going to do it. You know, he's even growing gardens in his backyard, even though that's going to be high risk too. But he's preparing, and he's 68 years old, and he understands the severity of the conditions that the U.S. is in. And not just the U.S., but globally.
Yeah, globally.
So we have to, I want to say we got to address the elephant in the room. And to me, the elephant is fear. Fear.
Fear is the elephant.
Fear is the elephant. Yes. Because we don't want to deal with reality. We want to put the responsibilities on someone else and say, well, the government is going to take care of me and the government is going to do this. So when we say that, that takes the responsibility off of us and put it on someone else. But we don't want the responsibility because we're afraid of the conditions. We're afraid of what the possibilities may be. And we're going to have to attack fear. We're going to have to deal with that element. We're going to have to deal with the elephant in the room.
Well said. You have a YouTube channel, right?
Yes, I have a YouTube channel.
What is your YouTube channel for the people can come over there and finish this off?
Well, my YouTube channel is Orlando Keeping It Simple, but it basically comes from a theology viewpoint. But I also have a YouTube page. It's Orlando. It's just my name, Orlando X Fraley. But I prefer to. I don't really talk about surviving on YouTube unless I'm getting a demand for it. But I would definitely do it. I want to have classes on it. I want to help people.
You got to, man. You
train
just let me
for
know.
it.
Let me know. Sign me up when you do it.
Well, we're in the makings of getting some guys together now so that we can go out to a state park, and we only eat what we catch, and we only start a fire with what we have. We get to that. I'm trying to get some guys together now so that we can practice that, so that we can get it together. Because I want to say this. For all those people who, if you look at it from a natural point of view, that's fine. If you look at it from a religious point of view, that's fine. But one thing in the Bible it says, I'm gonna paraphrase it for you.
Okay.
Jesus told his disciples to go sell whatever they had to sell, to go buy a weapon to protect them on the journey that they was going to be on. So we have to understand that whatever journey we on, we got to have all the means that we need to have to protect ourselves in the midst of chaos and commotion. You know, we can't think that, oh, the Lord is going to come save me. Oh, the government is going to come save me. oh, whatever. No,
Yeah.
the responsibility lies on us.
Us alone.
That's
Right.
right. Absolutely, brother.
Listen, man, appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I know I seen your YouTube channel. It's dope. You talk about a lot of stuff, and I think a lot of people will learn something. Either if they go over there for what we talk about now, prepping, or
Mhm.
whatever, I think they'll learn something. And then I want everybody to go check your say your YouTube channel again.
My YouTube channel is Orlando Keeping It Simple.
Okay.
That's my channel, and I appreciate you. I know we've been meaning to get together for a long period of time, man. But I
Yeah.
really appreciate you for allowing me to come on your channel and allow
No
me
doubt.
to have you having a conversation with me about this issue. I thank you very much for considering me to be on your channel, and I thank you.
No doubt, my brother. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, Orlando. And we got to go shooting, but we'll set all that up.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, brother. Take
All right,
it
my
easy.
brother.
Okay, so basically this is you have to the reason I did this, let me fix my microphone because I'm about to say this before I get out of here. Okay. When you watch news, right, you see everything that's going on. You see whether it's Russia or the UFO stuff, something is brewing. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not fear mongering. I just like to be on top of everything, right? So, in a situation of an EMP, and if you know me, I talk about EMPs because I'm fascinated by EMPs. Because something can explode, a nuclear device can explode at a certain altitude and it would knock out all the electronics. Now the car would start, a radio would play, cell phone, everything is out. Wherever you at, you got to get home. And that's what I said to him, that where I was at that time, it would have took me 5 days to get home with whatever I had on me at the time. But when the power go out for, I don't know, an hour, you already on the phone trying to call the electric company. And oh shit, don't let it be out for overnight. You cursing them out. Hey, I ain't paying my next bill. Why's my lights out? Get that shit, get it together. Right? We already freaking out at one day. 2 days, oh man, that freezer food starting to throw out. And you like, man, I am about to lose a couple $100. Well, now shit, probably $1,000 worth of food because the power is out. And that's what we usually see. Unless it's a big storm, we see a couple weeks, but usually we see a day or two. Imagine it's a month. At a certain point, everything that we do needs electricity. To go pump water out of the faucet, there's a pump that's pumping water into your house. It's electric. You go to the gas station to get fuel. There's a pump that's pumping that fuel into your car. That's electric. You go to get money out the ATM. There is a device that's hooked up to electric to spit your money out the ATM. Everything comes to an halt. There's no trucks to bring food to the supermarkets. The supermarkets are not open. Whatever you got in your refrigerator or whatever you got in your house, that's what you got. At a certain point, your neighbors will call on you and say, are you okay? They can't call on you, but they'll probably walk over and say, you okay? At the same time, they probably scoping to see what you got. And at a certain point, everybody would turn into animals. Every man for theyself. You're looking over at your kid, Daddy, I'm hungry. Everybody crying because they're hungry. One thing you got, that your neighbor got, people down the street got, people around the corner got, everybody got guns. Depends on who got the most ammo, but mainly everybody got guns. So you see how this situation will go? If you ain't prepared, it's scary. Like I said, I look at all zombie movies and I just take out the zombie part because I like the buildup, or I look at the buildup right before the zombies come, when chaos ensues and everything goes to shit. And that's basically what it is. It's good to be prepared. Find a rendezvous point if your family gets separated, and just try to figure out something. At a certain point, you're going to have to leave your house. You're going to have to venture out with your little kids, with your sick wife or your sick mother. You're going to have to venture out. And, this is not to scare you. This is just to prepare you. And I thank you all for listening on the podcast side. And I thank you all for watching on the YouTube side. Y'all have a wonderful night.